You didn't start as an entrepreneur, right?
Brother, I started in a small village in Argentina. At the age of 16, I was fortunate enough to have the ability to come to the United States with $200 in a suitcase, started pressure washing basketball courts, started cleaning dishes in restaurants and cooking, doing whatever I could to make a quick buck. My biggest thing was self-education. It was realizing that I could become a different person if I educated myself into a different person. Because the only difference between viewer and me is this. That's the only difference. Because this gives more confidence. This allows more connections. This allows more money. So I realized that I just had to transform this and everything else would lay itself according to plan. Instead of hustling, I just had to become that which I wanted to be. And I did it. So I went from the kid washing the dishes to now the retired multimillionaire in my 20s in Switzerland because I became the person that had the ability to do that by inserting the right information. It worked. The reason banks are not safe is because they don't hold on to your money. They're doing what you should be doing for yourself, which is investing and multiplying your money. So these guys, they come take your money, they fractionalize it, they lose it all, they go on a bank run, they say, oops, well, you're FDIC insured covered, but then you actually read what FDIC insurance is, and it's based on the faith and good credit of the United States of America. That's what your money's insured by. What the f is that? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I like to build a basket of assets that keeps me well protected in times of turmoil. So a basket of assets that's very reliable is 1 kilo of gold, 1 kilo of silver. You're going to have 10,000 Swiss francs because Switzerland is the banking capital of the world. You're going to have 10,000 US dollars because the United States is the military superpower of the world. And you're going to have 10,000 Singaporean dollars because Singaporean dollars are the least inflated currency and have some Bitcoin. And I think that's a good basket of assets if World War III hits.
Why do you think we've been able to reach this level while many other people are struggling to see any success in their life?
It's very much like the gondola, right? You have to climb the top of the mountain to achieve success, but people think that they have to grind their way to the top, that they have to put on a pair of hiking boots and go a trail that's never been walked before because there's an ego attached to doing something difficult. Or you can just figure out what other people have engineered beforehand to achieve the top of the mountain. Just ride the gondola to the top. That's how we do it. Find glitches in the system, hacks, ways that money can be made, and you utilize those vehicles. I mean, making money online to me is the greatest glitch right now. So it's the gondola of money.
To somebody at their lowest moment right now watching this video, what do you say to them?
There's only one way, one direction. If you're at the bottom, there's only one way, but you got to look up. And when you look up, there's somebody there waiting for you. His name is God. And he's there with a hand, reaching out, waiting for you to take control of your life. I learned one very important lesson. Your relationship with God is like that of a captain and a crew member. One rows, the other one steers. Many times in our life, we want to get confident and cocky and arrogant. And God says, I steer, but I do not row. We need to put in the work and God will guide.
That's amazing, brother. You know, that piece of wisdom right there might change somebody's life.
You just got to put in the hours. You just got to clock in.
And he loves all of us.
Absolutely.
No matter what stage you're at. And he will forgive you for the mistakes that you've made in your life.
We're all at his mercy, but he gives us this matrix to really level up and get to know him, his beauty. I want to live a life of freedom, a life of impact, and a life that will leave change. And I know you do too, brother.
That's right. We're on that path together, my boy. You always talk about aspiring to become a billionaire. What is your plan to achieve that?
I will build the largest decentralized entrepreneurial network in the world, known as Capital Club. My goal is to have 1 million entrepreneurs from all over the world, focused on creating, multiplying, and preserving wealth and opportunity for all the members. You know, so many people are isolated and alone, and they don't understand that the indoctrination that they have in their mind, it comes from the school system, which is what? That you need to solve all the problems in your life by yourself. When you work in community, when you try to solve problems together, what is it called? Cheating. They don't let you work together. They don't let you collaborate, but we're gonna change that. Together, we're stronger. Together, we're better. There's power in people. There's power in numbers. And that's what we're in the mission on. And if there's enough value, then the billions will come.
I got one last question for you before we wrap this up. When it's all said and done, what do you want people to remember Luke Belmar for?
I don't care if they remember me. It's not that big of a deal. I just want people to have a good life and people to make good decisions. And when it's all said and done, that they look at their own lives and be like, I did well.
At some point, you just have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. Are you just like not disgusted with being average? Are you not disgusted with being like everybody else? Now, if you want to live an ordinary life, walk around, do your 9 to 5, watch some Netflix or some Hulu at night, just chill, then that's fine. But if you want to be an extraordinary individual and you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to be disgusted with your current situation. And once you're disgusted with your current situation, you must commit to changing. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you must be willing to do extraordinary things. Do I make myself clear?
You see all these beautiful temples, they're always focused on the exterior. They build all these beautiful craftsmanships, which, don't get me wrong, they're nice, but oftentimes we neglect the temple in which God resides. If you have a pure vessel, a clean vessel, a vessel that is in tune, well, maybe you don't need an exterior temple. Maybe your act of worship is the food that you eat, the music that you listen to, the relationships that you have, how you speak to yourself. It's time to develop the vessel. It's time to develop the temple in which you actually reside. You don't reside here. It's beautiful, it's nice, it's made out of gold, but you don't live here. You live here. So that's the temple you have to develop.
In order for you to make money, in order for you to get to the next level of your career, in order for you to level up in your business, if you can master these 3 essential skills, you are guaranteed to succeed. Now, the first one is you need to be the best at what you do. Most of you guys are in service-based industries. You have, agencies, whatever it may be. You may provide physical services. But if you want to make money, if you want to stand out, you need to be the best at what you do. The second point is you need to become irreplaceable. In a time and age where artificial intelligence is advancing, technology is advancing at massive proportions and at a speed that is unprecedented, your ability to become irreplaceable in the marketplace will set you apart. And finally, you need to be on market trend. You need to make sure that your product and your service is in high demand. For you to make money, you need to master all 3 formulas.
What you need to learn is that at the end of the day, the only thing that matters in business is making money. And you make money by solving problems. This dude, when I found him, he was in business for philanthropy. He was in business giving up his time to serve people and making nothing from it. So I told him, don't be allergic to money. You're in business for profit. And now he's doing 7 figures. So if you want to level up, you need to understand that you serve people by selling to people a product that they need. And many times they don't even know that they need that. But it is essential if you're trying to win the game of business. Without a vision, people perish. But without money, the vision perishes. What can I do today to make my business money? That's it. Everything else, make the moolah. Peace.
There's so much money out there to be made. When you look at the vastness of the world and you see these cribs, there's so much wealth, so much money, so many resources everywhere. You have to realize that you can't have a scarcity mindset regarding money. You can't have a scarcity mindset regarding growth, because if you do, then you're gonna end up in a situation whereby you don't see what the world has to offer. We just have to realize that it's available with enough work, with enough dedication, with enough planning, with enough education, with enough network. You can achieve your dreams. It's inspirational, especially if you can live in one of these environments without having compromised your soul in the process.
What a lot of people don't understand is that life is what you make it. If you have a shitty job, you have no money, you have no friends, you have no relationships, no social life, that's your choice. Nobody's saying that you can't quit your job. Oh yeah, but I have all these problems. Nobody gives a f, bro. The marketplace doesn't give a f about your problems. The marketplace cares on whether you deliver value or not. Nobody's forcing you to work the shitty job that you work. Nobody's forcing you to have the shitty life that you have. That's the life that you chose. So if you want a different life, you have to be able to understand that you are in control. Everybody's phenomenal, but you just have to give them the opportunity. So if you have a shitty life, that's your choice. Be in control. Thinking that people care, first of all, is an illusion, because most people don't give a f. They'll forget in 30 seconds. They're in such an NPC mode that you don't really even exist. You're just like another blink, and then their life continues. They won't remember tomorrow. So you got to operate as if nobody existed. You run the shit. You run the game. And then the world starts molding itself to you. Operate, move as if nobody existed, because they don't give a f about you. They're on their phones. They're distracted by social media. And then in 30 seconds, you're not even in memory. You got to operate that way. Then you're no longer operating out of a place of fear, but out of certainty in such an uncertain world. I haven't got my screen fixed in 2.5 months. Why did I not get it fixed? Because I didn't want to go out of my way, go to a shop, wait there. Here we are in London. This place says screen fixed in 10 minutes. Shout out to whoever's in here. He has unlocked what is called the time gap, which is the value that you provide is in proportion to your ability to save people time. So in 10 minutes, I will either have no phone or I will have a fixed screen. Time gap, baby. 10 minutes?
Within 30 minutes.
Within 30 minutes? Okay. Do you do it here or do you take it somewhere else? Okay. How much? 130? Can you do it in 20 minutes? Okay. So why does it say 10 minutes outside? Lesson number 2.
Phone, not fixed. Why? For a few reasons. One is it doesn't take 10 minutes, it takes 30 minutes. That is false advertising. You let me down, right? The first interaction with you in the business is you let me down. You could have easily said 30 minutes and I would have still chilled and gotten a coffee right there. But instead you try to lie to me. Automatically, I'm already a little bit suspicious. It doesn't work. If you want to establish good customer relationship and you want people to flock to your business, you need to be honest about your product and your product needs to work. You control the expectations of your customer. You control them. So ask yourself, what do you want your customer to expect? And do you have the ability to deliver on the expectations that you have established as a business owner? If not, do not make the promises. That's the name of the game. That's the lesson.
I was shredding the slopes here in Zermatt with some of my buddies, and eventually we got separated on the slopes, and you get paired up with random people. You know, I'm paired up with this random kid, 16-year-old. He checks out my snowboarding outfit. He's like, hey, that's a dope outfit. We start chopping it up. Long story short, 16-year-old kid has a 4.1 GPA, top of his class in high school. Worked his ass off to be in a situation where he could get a nice college scholarship, to be in a place where, you know, he can be financially secure. Well, young man, what do you want to study? Well, I want to study engineering. Excuse me? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be studying engineering, and when I graduate in 8 years, I'm going to be in a really good place. Let me ask you a question. In 8 years, by the time you graduate and you begin your career, will artificial intelligence replace your newfound skill set? Because when it comes to mathematics, precision, numbers, statistics, and probabilities, artificial intelligence is a lot more powerful than any human alive. You need to be building companies of the future. You need to be doing things of tomorrow, because based on Moore's law, technology quickly, and it's becoming extremely cheap and cost efficient. The fact that somebody right now in Africa has access to artificial intelligence to fundamentally and radically change their lives, now we've democratized access to big things. The question is, will you be consumed by artificial intelligence, live in the past, live with this bullshit idea that college and university will be worth it? Or you're gonna understand where the world is going 8, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and you will position yourself accordingly. Instead of studying engineering, why don't you become a software engineer? Why don't you become a machine learning expert? You'll be in a situation where now you integrate with AI and you still get to exercise your passion in university. So ladies and gentlemen, start using artificial intelligence or you will be left behind.
Everybody's fake. You can crack the code. What's the code? Be legit. People don't even tap into their fullest potential because they want to be somebody else. Hence why I don't compare myself to anybody except the dude in the mirror. Well, I don't know about your life. Or like, I'd be delusional to compare myself to anything about you, except I know that you're a great guy, we're friends. But there's so many things that are happening in the psyche, the subconscious, the family, all these things that construct the dynamic of somebody else's life. I don't want somebody else's life. I'll make my life a great life and a life to enjoy. It's like the same thing with chasing success or the next thing. People like achieve $100,000 e-commerce store, which when you started dropshipping, that was like the thing. As soon as you hit it, you don't even enjoy it because you see the guy doing $1 million.
Right.
But the problem is comparison is the killer of joy. It robs you of the joy. Why? Because your energy isn't focused on you, it's focused on somebody else. That's why I love the hate. I love when people talk about me because they're just giving me their energy so that I can wield it and get richer.
What do people say about you?
People love me, bro.
Dropshipping is dead. Dropshipping is gonna die. Dropshipping is hard. Everything's saturated. Ads are expensive. But what I've come to realize is that dropshipping hasn't died. It has merely evolved. Just like any other business in the world, whether you talk about sales, real estate, commerce, trading, any sort of business, it always goes through periods of evolution. Now, unless you are able to evolve, you will be crushed by your competitors. E-commerce, dropshipping is very much alive and well. Now the strategies, the tactics whereby you make it a success is a lot different. The paradigm is shift. The landscape is completely different. But for us to just throw a blanket statement of dropshipping is dead, no. Maybe your ability to market is dead. Maybe your skill set is dead. What you might have to reinvent is that.
You need to travel the quest map. You need to go to different places of the map and understand that you're going to receive what I like to call datasets. Datasets are pieces of information, clues that you get from the matrix. Different matrices give you different information, so you have to expose yourself. That's why traveling is important. You understand that the essence of being in a cubicle under fluorescent lights, that is a tool of the matrix to keep you away from understanding that all of these things are perspectives and perceptions. And the more perceptions and perspectives that you have, different angles, you're going to be able to see a clearer picture.
Can you be a true stoic if you're not physically conditioned?
You can't be a stoic unless you master the body. That's why we have a statue here, 300 years old of Hercules. He's got his V-line, his V-cut. You must master the physical condition. It is just as important as the spiritual, just as important as the mental.
My take on it is that I'm more shredded than Hercules.
the most elite of the entrepreneurs, they're not releasing merch lines and this garbage that's associated with their name. They're building real products and real brands that are
100%,
disassociated
dude.
from their identity. And if you can do that, you can outweather and outblast your brand and your fame. I just came to realize, specifically with content, you have to have a well-oiled machine of content creation and content distribution. That's why a lot of creators get burnt out, because they're the creator, they're the editor, they're the uploader, they're the business, they're the one managing customer service emails. How are you supposed to run a business if you can't even do the thing that you wanted to do in the beginning, which is to create content? You need to equip yourself. And that's what, going back to Mr. Beast, the dude reinvested everything that he had into making sure that he could still do what he wanted to do, but at scale.
The reason you train is so that you can react to life in a way that is spontaneous. Your life is training. This idea of like, oh, I gotta go to the gym. No, it's like everything is training. Everything you do, like this podcast right now is training us for greatness. We're in the dojo 24/7, G, like nonstop.
You have been told that money is valuable, therefore you value it. But when you understand where money comes from, how it's made, you're gonna find yourself in a situation where you actually don't want money anymore. What you want is to have all of the privilege that comes with money without the bullshit of having to get it. So you have to figure out how is the best approach to acquire the most valuable, meaningful asset, which is the asset that you're selling. That asset is called time. So what you're doing is you're expending your most valuable, in fact, maybe your only asset, potentially you could add energy into the equation as well, in exchange for something that is infinitely printable and infinitely worthless. Most people don't stop to think about what is the worth of their time. People are out here working for $7.15 for an hour of their time. So what you're telling me is that you value yourself at $7.15. Now, why is this a problem? It's not a problem from the side of the employer because they need to make profits, they need to be able to run a business. The problem is on you. Why are you worth $7.15? Why is your time worth that? What you need to understand is that you need to unlock the skill set of becoming valuable, because value will then retribute to the worth of your time, which then will be retributed to the worth of how much you're willing to expend of your time in order to get X amount of money. Finally, in return, you'll be able to charge for what your time is worth. So any way that you spin it, you are always responsible. So many of your friends are going to betray you. They're rats waiting for you to make your bag. They're going to come and nibble from it. What you need to do is be able to identify them and realize that just because people know you doesn't mean that they want to see you succeed or that they want to see you win. And that can even be in your own family. Be really understanding that you need to surround yourself with people that like you, right? People that want to have you around, people that want to get you involved in what they're doing, people that want to see you elevate, people that will challenge you. You don't want yes men sniffing up your butt 24/7 either. So you need to be in a situation where you position yourself and understanding that the corner to good relationships, to good business deals, to good networks, to good access points, to good information comes from the people that like you. So it's not about who you know, it's not about who knows you, but it's about who likes you and who's willing to go to war for you.
The information that you have is giving you the life that you have, and if the life that you have is not a life that you enjoy, it probably is the information that you were fed since the moment you were born. From the moment you were born, you were given a name, you were given an identity, you were given a religion, you were given a social security number, you were given national anthem, you were given colors, you were given preferences, you were given all these things that constructed who you are today, and it's those things that you have to deconstruct if you want to live life on your own terms. You're living the life of the system because you are conditioned by the system. So if you want to live a different life, you want to enjoy the beauty of the matrix, you have to learn, exploring, taking information from other places that are going to elevate you and allow you to achieve your fullest potential. Why limit yourself to a cubicle, working for a boss that'll never, ever, ever give a damn about you, that'll replace you within 72 hours after you quit or after you die? You're just a human resource. The department says it itself, right? So figure out who you're listening to, figure out what type of life you want to live, and if the life that you have is not the life that you want to have, then chances are the information that you're feeding here, that you're feeding here, that you're feeding through here, that you're feeding through here, ain't cutting it. Take responsibility, take ownership for your life, and if you're not here with us, what are you doing? You know what? Life is very much like snowboarding. You can't fake it. You can be a phony, you can buy all the gear, you can buy the goggles, nice helmet, the expensive shit, but unless you put in the hours to practice, you cannot master the mountain. Just like life, you have to put in the hours, you have to be willing to fall, get hurt, beat up, and get up over and over and over again until you master the mountain. In life, you gotta practice, you gotta train, you gotta get beat up, you gotta put in the hours. If not, the mountain will eat you up. You can learn from everything.
perspicacity. I want to teach you an extremely important principle, a principle that had I learned long before I did, I would have tenfold my net worth, I would have tenfold my relationships, I would have tenfold my access to deal flow, and I would have tenfold my ability to put myself in the right rooms to succeed. And that principle is the power of positioning. Many times people talk about hustling, grinding, working hard, waking up, working 19-hour days as the ingredient for success. If that was the case, then the construction workers or the plumbers or the garbage men, those would be the wealthiest people. But the reality is, hard work alone, hustle alone, does not equate to success. Why is it that all these trust fund kids, why is it that all these sons of bankers and daughters of bankers or financiers, how is it that they get access to deal flows, access to IPOing companies and seed rounds and really good investment vehicles, and you don't? Are they any more intelligent than you? Well, potentially yes, but I could debate that the power and the position that they have gives them access to multiply at a faster rate than the average man, than the average woman. So the question is, in your career, how have you positioned yourself to win? Or you're always constantly hustling and trying to find your ability to make a quick buck, or thinking that working hours equates to productivity. Practice, train, so that when the opportunity comes, do your positioning, you can actually deliver. You can actually follow through. You can win. You can succeed.
What was the period of time it took from you going from brokey to making your first million? And just give me some of the key pointers of that little journey.
3 years.
What was like the main thing that made you catapult, out of that brokey era?
The biggest thing for me was, one, doing things that people weren't doing. So figuring out if people were, for example, doing e-commerce, figuring out what is an optimized way of doing e-commerce. That's the first part. So figuring out what people were doing and making it better. Because if you look at everything that exists nowadays, it's only an iteration of something that existed before. It's a better version of what previously existed. For example, dropshipping, right? Yeah. Dropshipping is not going anywhere. It's just going to evolve from what it is to what it'll be in the future. Yeah. So in 2017, 2016, 2018, 2019, we dropshipped. And
you guys started in 16?
Yeah, 16. We were running ads, bro.
So did you take a course to start like everyone else?
Never.
Okay, so how did you learn? YouTube?
So how we learned is we actually got into all the Facebook groups and befriended all the guys that ran the groups, and they would give us all the free alpha. So basically what we would do is provide value to these guys in a way that nobody else in the community would do. So we would say, like, let's pay $50 to join the community, right? Yeah. I didn't want to buy a course. I want access to people. I want fresh information. For that, I need people. So I was like, okay, let me join a community. Let me get involved with the e-commerce kind of space. And I just started, whoever was the guru, whoever was the expert, I would just befriend them by providing value.
Was that Steven and Evan?
Steven and Evan Tan they were my mentors at the time, and then they became my business partners, which now Steve is solely the CEO of Capital Club. And all this comes from providing value in such a way that you're a giver and not a taker. And this comes from being a place of genuinely caring. I didn't want anything in return. Sure. I just wanted to help the dude, and I admired the dude, and I wanted him to win. And in return, he wanted the same for me. It's the law of reciprocity. And if people understand that, they'll realize that business isn't just about grind. Because what is business? Business is a relationship between people. Yep. It's an interaction between people. Yeah, today you don't really notice because of the digital era and the internet, but all commerce is interactions with people.
Yeah. What is something that you can tell people to avoid going down that path of constant comparison, competition, and just truly being themselves? Because that's what makes you successful.
You don't want to live anybody's life, because the life that anybody has could be yours, and it could have your name attached to it, except theirs. And the problem is, most people are negative towards themselves, but ultra positive in a fantasy way about everybody else's life. It's like, okay, perfect, the grass is greener on the other side, and it may be greener than yours. Then water your side. Focus on your lane, focus on your craft, become the best version of yourself, elevate, and then the people that you want to be like will be magnetized to you. 100%. And from admiring them and wanting to become them, you will be with them.
Every empire falls. Rome fell. And Rome fell when they began to print money out of thin air. What were they doing? Well, they used to have silver and gold coins that were pure silver and gold coins. But because they weren't pillaging and conquering enough nations, they weren't able to accrue enough gold to continue stimulating the economy. So what would they do? They diluted the golden coin. They would introduce metal, right, to dilute the coin. So first it started 95% gold, 5% metal. Then 90% gold, 10% metal. So the value, right, the intrinsic value of the coin goes down because you're introducing something that is useless. And it got to the point where it's basically 0.1% gold, 99% metal, and the Roman Empire fell. Every great nation falls the moment you allow private institutions to take over monetary policy. Debt is the ultimate form of slavery. All money that is issued in the fiat system is debt. The money in your bank account is debt. Who owns it? You don't. You just have the right of use for it. At any moment, they can freeze your shit. What are you gonna do?
Winners win and losers lose. I get asked this question all the time. Winners are people that everything that they do, all the habits that they instill are the habits of a winner. A winner isn't a final product. A winner is a lifestyle. A winner is a concurrent set of actions that lead you to a final destination. Same way is for losers. Usually losers inhibit behaviors of losing people, who they hang out with, what they eat, what they listen to, what they consume on a regular basis, how they think about themselves, how they view the world. They view everything through the lens of a loser. So when people come to me and they're like, Luke, why is my life shit? All I have to do is look at your action. Most of you guys are operating at a 2 out of 10 and you're expecting a 10 out of 10 life. It's impossible. You want uphill results with downhill habits. It's not gonna work, dude. You gotta level up. And that means understanding that if you follow a list of successful ingredients, you're gonna achieve success. The ingredient list is out there. You just gotta be paying attention. You don't have to reinvent the fucking wheel. There have been successful people before you. There will be successful people after you. The question is, will you become successful? Will you instill the habits of a winning person? Will you embody the beliefs of a winning individual? Will you cut out the bullshit that makes you a loser? Are you gonna keep consuming and being like, oh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong is you're wrong. Your life is wrong. Everything you do, when the moment you wake up, you self-sabotage. You're setting yourself up for failure. And then you're asking why you suck at life. You suck at life because everything that you do is sucking and draining you away from your fullest potential. Focus on leveling up. Focus on winning. Every single action, everything that you do, focus on winning. Focus on becoming a champion. And you know what the outcome will be? You will become exactly what you put in. Winners win, losers lose. Pick a side and go after it.